Dobden.
Stravete.
And welcome back to our little Bulgarian adventure.
Yes, we've reached February and it's cold.
It's definitely cold. We've even had snow, a couple of fallings of snow, but not very
Yes,
much.
we didn't have enough to give us a proper covering, so no artistic lovely snow shots this week.
No,
But,
it wasn't very deep.
We probably will get some next week, which, looking at the weather forecast and the temperatures, we'll have a lot more snow.
Yeah, a lot chillier.
Yes. Max is hoping for more snow, so fingers crossed.
Still not had his snow quota.
No. He was quite impressed when he found it had snowed, but just not impressed with the quantity.
Not impressed. Our other guest was quite impressed, wasn't he?
He was indeed. We also bid a fond farewell to Dexta.
Who's gone home to his mum and dad.
Yep, he's reasonably well behaved.
He was lovely.
He was. It was great fun. He was very, very pleased to see Ivan and Teresa, his proper mum and dad. So, yes, he's gone back and I'm sure we'll have him again at some point.
Yeah. But he did have quite an extreme reaction to the snow.
He loved it, yes. It was obviously the thing to do was run up and down.
Yeah.
So he did for about 5 minutes.
And here he is.
We've also been continuing with the work on our new kitchen. You remember last week we had to stop doing any concreting or cementing because the temperatures had dropped. So we switched to stuff that doesn't involve concreting and cementing.
It did involve making the house colder for a while.
It did, yes. Hopefully now it should start warming up again. I'll show you why. The next job we have to do in our kitchen is to repair this hole in the ceiling. This is where we had to take down the plaster and the broken bits of wood, the rotted beams, basically make good what was up there before we could rebuild it. It's covered up with a bit of OSB and some insulation just to stop the cold from coming from the roof as it cools down over the winter. But it's now time to actually fix this, make it a bit more permanent so we can get on and put the proper ceiling in. The rest of the ceiling in this room is in quite good condition, so we're going to be putting the suspended ceiling straight over the top of this plaster. So once we finish, we'll have a complete ceiling, suspended, insulated, and a lot warmer than what we currently have. The first job I have to do is sort through my wood store. I know it's not very tidy, but it is what it is. To find sufficient 2x4 so that I can make the framework for the new floor stroke ceiling. Currently I have the floor covered over with that piece of OSB. There's a few other floorboards and bits sitting there just to fill up any gaps, and a bit of insulation to fill up the big hole where the gap in the wall was put for the stairway. So I've got to clear that out of the way before I can actually start looking to see exactly where I'm going to put the framework to support the new floor. Our next job is to measure the size of the hole, where the joists are, where I want to put supporting pieces. One of the tabbies is helping me do this. Just having a quick look around, but I'm sure if I do it wrong she'll let me know. Once I've measured, I can start cutting the wood to build the framework. While measuring up in the attic, I found that the rot along the front there is a lot worse than I thought. I'd replaced the really bad piece of beam, tested the piece of beam that I fixed the new beam to, which seemed okay, but about a foot further along, unknown to me because it's hidden behind mud, there was another bit of rot, which gave way when I put a bit of weight on it. So my next job now isn't to fill the hole, it's to make the hole bigger. I've got to remove the wood and the dirt and the mud from the front there, remove the old beam and replace it with something a lot more substantial, which in the long run will make it safer. But it's just one of those things that happens when you start taking things apart, you find more things to take apart. So I better get on with clearing up this mess. After clearing up the mess that I made, taking down that extra bit of ceiling, I've now secured the back joist. It's 2 bits of 2x4 connected to the 4x4 that's up there with quite a number of joining bolts, screws, all sorts of bits and pieces. There's some sistering on the beam above it, which it's also screwed into. So I'm screwing into new wood everywhere along there. That is now secure and takes my weight. I've also put an extra support between the second and the fourth joists where I cut off the third one. That's also joined to the third joist to give that a bit of extra support. And there's some extra sistering on that second joist. It's sistered at the back, it's also at the front now, so that should give it a bit more stability. Everything up there is now rock solid. What I'm now going to do is build the framework to put the floor on, which will go above all that. So I'll have an extra strong floor, which seems a bit of overkill for where it is, but I don't want to fall through it by mistake. So that's my next job. I'm putting these blocks in for two reasons. Firstly, to give myself something to put the first set of floorboards across as I come across this floor here. But secondly, to block up this gap at the back between the beam and the wall and the floorboards in this beam to stop any airflow coming through. I'm going to be insulating the gap. I've got these polystyrene sheets which will go in the gaps, cut to size, held in place, and that'll be my first level of insulation to stop the cold coming through the roof into the corridor. This is the pile of floorboards we took up from the family room when we did the floor in there. I've been saving for jobs such as this. So what I'll do is I'll take them down, I'll cut them with the miter saw, bring them back up and screw them into place. Well, that's the new roof, the ceiling and floor in the upstairs done. We now have a nice solid floor we can stand up upstairs and no hole in the ceiling. This space is also blocked off now. We'll be putting a sheet of insulation over the top of that. When we actually come to put the suspended ceiling in, there'll be a sloping ceiling running down from the corner in the family room down to the actual suspended ceiling. When that goes in, there'll be insulation and stuff put in the gap. But for now, it will do. It gives me room to run cables and things when I put the electrics in, and it stops the wind blowing from the attic down into our family room. So that's our new attic floor and top of the kitchen ceiling done. It's a nice solid area that we can walk on. It's stopped all the drafts, it's secure, and we're now ready to continue downstairs in the kitchen. I started putting the polystyrene insulation in place. This is just the top layer. but it's going in quite easily. But once again, I've run out of time, so I'll finish it off next week and start the electrics.
It was also lovely to spend some time with Ivan and Teresa this week.
Yes, they flew back in from England to Varna, so I went and picked them up from the airport, brought them back here. Not only did they collect Dex, I had breakfast and we had a good couple of hours chat and catch up.
Yes, you'll have to watch their vlog for their update on their first day back, I think.
Yes, it was eventful, let's just say that.
Well, when they got to their end, it was
yes.
eventful. But it was lovely to spend some time with them, and thank you very much for our tea bags.
Yes.
They were greatly appreciated.
If anybody else wants to send us tea bags, feel free.
Yes, tea bags and Commons mustard powder.
Marmite.
We were stacked up on those. I'd also like to wish my Auntie Gladys her happy 90th birthday this week. So best wishes to you, Auntie Glad, and I hope you have a lovely day with all your family and friends.
Yeah, happy birthday.
I think that's about it for us this week.
Yes, I think you're up to date. There is stuff happening next week, but until it happens, we're not going to tell you. So you'll have to watch next week to find out, but hopefully things will happen.
So until then,
take care.
Stay safe.
And we'll see you then.
Doskaro.
Doskoro.